What's up, Cardfighters? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, bringing you guys a brand new machining deck profile.
Stand up! Vanguard!
Starting with our grade 3s, we are playing 4 copies of Machining Stag Beetle. Machining Stag Beetle is basically the optimal ride just because his on-place Vanguard skill is really good. It gets us 2 free cards on the board from the soul, which really helps out for those Machining Destroyer plays. And then next we got 4 copies of Machining Scorpion Mark II. It's basically the Legion that came out in GBT04. And this is actually a really great card just because it does have a second ability that you can use during before you Legion. So it lets you rest something and put something else into the soul, which sets up for either your Legion play or another Stag Beetle play, or just sets up for a Destroyer if you're able to get into it next turn. For our grade 2s, we are playing 4 copies of Machining Red Soldier. Red Soldier is just that 12k beater. It's really great early game because it swings also to the grade 3s by itself, and also makes solid 19 columns with a 7k booster behind him. And next we got one of the best cards for this deck. It's Machining Mosquito Mark II. Basically, it has a continuous ability where if all of your opponent's units are rested, when he hits a Vanguard, you can stand another of your rear guards and then get some nice multi-attacks going. And he also gets plus 2,000, which is really good, so it makes him an 11k beater. And then next we're taking 3 copies of Machining Armor Beetle. Machining Armor Beetle is a great tech simply because it helps you fill the soul early game, and also you get some nice free stuns, or free, because you're going to end up just calling it back out with Stag Beetle. Or if you need to, get the Legion play going off with Scorpion. For our grade 1s, we are playing 4 Unflipping Perfect Guards, Star Shield. We need the Unflip since Counterblasts are a little bit heavy in this deck, just because if you're going to be going into strides all the time, each stride that you use does cost Counterblast, so the Unflips do help. And of course we're running 4 Stride Fodders. Since this is pretty much a stride-based deck, you want to be able to go into Destroyer as much as possible. 3 Machining Black Soldiers, just a solid 10k beater that can swing early game because you want to push for high damage and make sure that they can't live since they're not going to be able to ride or stride. And then 3 Machining Caucasus, just because it's really good behind the Vanguard. It adds a lot of pressure, gets some nice free stuns in there. Moving on to our trigger lineup, we are playing 8 crits, 4 of them being Machining Firefly. We play the Firefly just because of its effect, which comes in handy a lot, where you can on-place counterblast one and stun another of their units. And then 4 draw, because this is kind of a combo piece deck, so you want to be able to get a lot of units on the field. Well, I guess not necessarily combo, but you would need rear guards. And then 4 heal, because G-guards, you need them. And our starter is going to be Machining Little Bee. We play Little Bee because after you ride to grade 3, your units are going to be rested, whichever ones that you call from the soul. So Little Bee is really effective at just standing one of those units and giving it plus 3k. So you get a little bit extra power, which is really helpful. Moving on to our G zone, we are playing, of course, 4 copies of Machining Destroyer. 4 copies seems like a lot, but to be honest, this is really the only strat you're going to be wanting to go into. Everything else is kind of like if your deck isn't working. Because the whole point of this deck is to make sure that your opponent can't play the game, which sounds really mean, but that's basically the point of Machinings. Next, we got 2 copies of 2 Obturandus. Like I said, this is kind of a counterblast heavy deck where you want to be able to counterblast a lot for Machining Destroyers. So teching an Obturandus is pretty good, especially if you can't get your machining plays off. If you want to be able to slow them down, this is the card that's going to do it for you. Then after that, we got 2 copies of Stun Beetle. Stun Beetle is just a really funny tech in, pretty much any Mega Colony deck. Just because if you hit their Vanguard, they're not going to be able to re-ride and they're not going to be able to stand. So it's pretty much broken for them. And then we got 2 copies of Parasphere. This is also just a really good first stride. Just in case you can't set up that Destroyer play, which is highly unlikely considering you're more than likely going to ride that Stag Beetle. And then we got 2 copies of Staggle Dipper. This is just, again, another backup just in case you can't get your deck flowing enough. You can get some nice power Nellines with that. And then moving on to our G-Guards, we're playing 1 Gristfort. Gristfort is there just because it really helps a lot against like Sanctuary Guard, anything that hits really hard or that needs combo pieces, because you can just go ahead and rest their back row for 1 Counterblast. And we got 1 Dismal. Dismal's there just to maybe protect our Machining Mosquitoes, or to just, stop something, stop Laurel, or stop the Cross if you're playing against it. And then we got 2 Scarab Gas, which is the very, very easy 20k shield. Thanks for watching, guys. That was our machining deck profile. Let us know what you guys think down below. Machining is a pretty fun deck. It's a really mean deck, especially if it goes off, because you basically let your opponent not play the game. So just be warned, if you do play this deck, your opponent is probably going to get mad at you. So anyways, guys, like we always say, like our videos, comment down below if you guys have any questions, and subscribe for more content. Vanguard Central, out.